The offensive lineman from the Cowboys decided to change representation, resulting in both positive and negative information for the Dallas Cowboys. Let's explore the pros and cons and the impact this has on all parties involved. Before diving into this topic, it's important to note that we are very close to the leaders in the competition for subscribers in the NFL Sports Chat. One of the teams already has the largest number of subscribers among all teams in the league up until this point in May, while we hold the second position, aiming to surpass them. Our goal is to reach first place. Now, regarding the athlete in question, he was about to become, or rather, it was widely expected that he would become, the highest paid player at his position, and now it seems certain that this will come to fruition. He opted for a new agency that, even for those who follow the league on a superficial level, might be familiar, although few truly care about agencies during contract negotiations. He joined an agency that counts some of the most renowned representatives in the NFL scene. This includes an agent well known to the Cowboys, whom they have reasons not to admire, along with another who represents a standout defensive player and an agent who, although not having many clients in common with the Cowboys, is a respected name in the league. To complete the group, there is another agent whom I hope to mention correctly. Let's talk more about this agent because, as was pointed out when the news first broke, he is now part of this group. Among the positive aspects is the fact that this agent has a long history as a representative in the NFL, having helped players with their contract renewals with the Dallas Cowboys. However, the influence of another agent raises some concerns. The connection with the first agent might, in fact, represent something beneficial for the Cowboys. Securing advantageous deals for its clients raises some questions. How concerned are you about this change in representation? This will be the main topic of the comment section in today's video. If any announcements pop up, feel free to engage. Share your thoughts on a scale from 1 to 10, with 1 being the least concern and 10 being the greatest concern about the matter. If you don't care, that's totally valid as well. Now, let's discuss the potential challenges before moving on to the positives, followed by a speculation on the contract terms. To start, the influence of one of the agents is undeniable. If the goal is to secure favorable contracts for the team, having this agent on their side is not a good strategy. He undoubtedly secured a favorable deal for one player, but that did not benefit the Cowboys, resulting in one of the least favorable agreements for the team in recent times, partly because of previous negotiations that didn't go as expected. The power dynamics changed significantly when the next contract was negotiated, leaving the Cowboys in a vulnerable position. Agents often maximize their outcomes in such situations. By joining this new group, the intention is not exactly to pursue a deal that benefits the team. That is not on the agenda, and this approach may be understandable. The Cowboys will need to learn how to handle these new dynamics introduced by this agency. They must improve their collaborations and adapt to these changes, as the negotiation landscape has evolved and agents hold significant influence. Among the notable clients of this group that are linked to the Cowboys, one player stands out. The first group needs to improve its distribution of responsibilities, a lesson that has been constantly emphasized for one particular person. It is essential that this person adapts to the dynamic changes in the game, as the agents involved have significant influence. Among the notable clients linked to the Cowboys, one prominent player is represented by a well-known agent, while another is under the guidance of a different agent. A third player is now represented by a pair of agents, and another is also represented by one of them. Additionally, one more player is assisted by an agent who is part of this group. Although it has less impact, another name worth mentioning is also represented by this group, alongside the agents specializing in the offensive line. One agent handles defense, receivers, corners, and edge players, while another typically deals with quarterbacks and other standout clients. One player is assisted by a certain agent, and several others are part of a second tier of agents within this group. There is contradictory information about another player. Some sources indicate a different agency as his representation. This group also celebrated its anniversary this year, sparking speculation about its representative, though this remains somewhat unclear. Meanwhile, another player is indeed assisted by one of the agents mentioned, which explains the discrepancy when someone claimed not to know the name of the agent. This seems, at the very least, misleading or indicative of a troubling cognitive state. Focusing on one of the players, there is a positive aspect to the agent's involvement in the upcoming contract negotiations of another player. It is worth mentioning that a specific jersey can be pre-ordered, and it is currently recorded as 0. Once the number is defined, it will be ensured that it is sent, allowing fans to secure theirs. When I came across the news, my first reaction was one of concern. However, the agent's involvement brings a certain optimism for future contract negotiations of another player. When I encountered the news, my immediate reaction was one of discontent. However, there is a positive aspect, which is the agent's involvement in the upcoming contract negotiations. There is familiarity and, I believe, a beneficial relationship as well. One player has had this agent for a long time and recognized him during his retirement press conference, stating that they were not just an agent but part of the family. Another person, who recalls the agent's name, commented during the press conference that they had never seen anyone get as involved or help as much as this agent did as a friend. I genuinely believe that the presence of this agent, especially being recognized as an offensive line specialist, is advantageous for the team. The relationship seems solid. It is important to mention a recent significant offensive line contract that set an impressive record with a 4-year duration. If anyone expects to secure a long contract that the agent and player negotiated, which was truly a unique circumstance, it is unlikely that will happen this time. However, there is already an established relationship, which is a positive point. So, do you want to invest in this player? Share your opinions on your choice. Currently, the contract is structured so that the player receives a specific amount in relation to the salary cap this year. This is minimal. It is an extremely limited contract. The amount is very close to what another player receives as a backup. It is a contract for a player selected at the end of the first round. The 5th-year option for 2026 has already been exercised for a considerable amount. It is important to note that, at this point, this amount would be the highest among all players in this position currently. This may seem like an advantage, as it involves a longer contract. Another player, who will be mentioned soon, is associated with a significant amount, which would represent the highest amount for a single year. Currently, this amount would be considered the highest amount for all guards in the National Football League. This may seem somewhat unfair, as it refers to the possibility of the 5th-year option in a longer contract. One of the athletes may have negotiating power if they so wish. If they choose patience, there will be considerable leverage at play. The mentioned guard is about to sign a big contract. If I were with one of the franchises with a young, talented guard about to receive a high amount, I would be in a hurry to close that deal quickly. I would seek to finalize this negotiation as soon as possible, as there is significant leverage in this situation. A substantial contract is on the way. If I were with one of the teams, it would be crucial to finalize that deal quickly, because waiting until the last moment would mean paying a higher price. Being the first to close would mean you could offer a bit more upfront, but the teams that follow will inevitably end up with even higher amounts. Therefore, I can propose a hypothetical contract here, although I'm not as certain as I've been with some previous proposals. Would I consider making one of the players the highest paid guard in the National Football League? I believe this is necessary if you want to keep him. I would classify this contract as thinking in the lower ranges of what the players group might consider acceptable, for years for a significant amount, resulting in a considerable annual value with a part guaranteed. All these numbers would place this player as the highest paid guard in the league, in addition to the franchise tag situations. This brings real complexity. However, this contract would represent a new standard in history, a target that agents generally aim for in terms of total compensation and guaranteed money, which is even more crucial. It is surprising that this contract barely ranks among the top 10 for tackles, which could offer some advantages if, in the future, difficulties arise, allowing you to make adjustments without it becoming a burden. The tag mentioned adds yet another layer of complexity to this situation. I keep wondering if, in the end, the team will decide to take a wait-and-see approach to this issue. The reason why a player changed representatives is pretty clear. He seeks to secure a contract that makes history. That is the motivation behind his decision. He seeks the experience of renowned agents who have a proven track record, asking them to take care of this and ensure he receives fair compensation. This next contract will be quite costly for the team, likely setting a new record among guards. I hope the team has learned valuable lessons over the years about these negotiations. Facing this circumstance is not the most desirable. There are precedents that should be taken into account. It is crucial that I take actions in my own benefit and ensure I receive due compensation. This deal tends to be quite costly for the team. I am confident that it will be an agreement that could set a new standard among guard players. I hope the team has absorbed valuable lessons from their past experiences and understands that acting quickly brings more advantages. It would be wiser to finalize this contract now. It is preferable to make the call and negotiate, even if it means having less negotiating power than desired. It is better, for example, to accept a 5% increase now than wait and allow other players in the same position to get valued, as has happened with certain athletes, and end up being forced to pay 15% more. The ideal is not to delay this decision. The team needs to demonstrate this to me, however. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. In an unexpected turn of events, the Dallas Cowboys are now at the center of a potential doping investigation that could shake the entire NFL. Sources close to the league have revealed that there are concerns over possible violations of the league's strict anti-doping policies, with the Cowboys facing potential disciplinary actions. The allegations surfaced after certain performance-enhancing substances, PES, were reportedly detected in routine testing of players from the Cowboys roster. While no names have been officially released, the revelation has sent shockwaves through the organization and the league. The NFL's anti-drug program has long been one of the cornerstones of maintaining integrity in the game, with a zero-tolerance policy for the use of banned substances. This is not the first time the Cowboys have faced scrutiny regarding player conduct, but the scale of this potential issue has raised eyebrows across the sports community. At the moment, the NFL has not issued an official statement confirming the investigation, but insiders suggest that the league's independent testing authorities are currently reviewing samples from the team's recent testing cycles. If proven true, the Cowboys could face heavy fines, suspension of key players, or even the forfeiture of future draft picks, depending on the severity of the violations. The situation has already begun to stir up controversy, especially given the high-profile nature of the Cowboys roster. The Dallas Cowboys, one of the most storied franchises in NFL history, have always maintained a high standard of competitiveness, but this scandal could jeopardize that reputation. Head coach Mike McCarthy and team owner Jerry Jones have reportedly held internal meetings to discuss the matter, with McCarthy expressing confidence in the team's clean record. However, public sentiment is divided, with some questioning the effectiveness of the league's drug testing protocols and others criticizing the Cowboys for possibly placing their success ahead of fair play. The timing of this controversy could not be worse, as the Cowboys are on track for a promising season with several key players performing at an elite level. Losing any of these players to suspensions would undoubtedly weaken their chances of a Super Bowl run. The team has long been one of the most beloved and scrutinized franchises in the NFL, and this latest scandal could tarnish their legacy. The NFL Players Association, NFLPA, has been quick to weigh in on the matter, emphasizing the importance of due process and fair investigation. We stand by the players' right to a fair hearing and will continue to advocate for transparency in all investigations, said NFLPA President J.C. Tretter. While the union's statement is measured, it suggests that they will closely monitor the situation to ensure that any potential penalties are justified and proportionate. As of now, the Cowboys organization remains tight-lipped on the investigation, but it is clear that this issue is far from resolved. The NFL and its teams will be watching closely, and this case could set a significant precedent for how doping allegations are handled in the future. Whether this will be a bump in the road for the Cowboys or the beginning of a much larger scandal remains to be seen, but one thing is certain. The stakes have never been higher for the Dallas Cowboys, their players, and the entire NFL. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.